So I'm here with our queen of web chat, Silver Jolliffe, and she is here to answer a couple of questions that people regularly ask us about web chat. So Silver, I'm just going to throw a few questions at you if that's okay.
Okay, throw away.
Okay, so what percentage of companies use web chat at the moment?
Well, latest research is about 60 odd percent B2B and less 30 odd percent for B2C, which is quite surprising.
Yeah, I would have thought actually it would have been much higher on B2C
Yeah.
than B2B.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think, B2B is really catching up now and catching up with web chat. And I think a lot of that has been driven by the pandemic. Uh,
Right, sure, because a lot more people are using things online, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, and a lot more people, are have access to their laptops during the day, and they the big thing with millennials and Generation Zs is that they are used to texting and getting things done in short form, and instant gratification is the big thing that you can get with web chat that you don't get with an email. So that's really been driving it, and also the big companies found it much more easier to get people working at home using web chat than messing around with telephone systems, which was much more of a technical challenge for them. So it's relatively easy to get a cloud-based web chat system up and running, really quickly, whereas there were some real challenges with telephony.
And how do you think that picture will look, that 60% and that 35%, say, in 5 years' time?
I think it's really going to be rising. I think web chat is very much snapping on the heels, and in some cases overtaken telephony in terms of customer support, particularly with COVID-19. I think that's really tipped the balance.
Mm.
So I think it's only going to be going up, and now people are sharing screens, and there's more and more functionality coming online. So I think it's definitely only going to increase in the next over the next years. So that telephony will definitely become much more of a secondary channel rather than a primary.
And what do you think is one of the biggest mistakes companies make when they take the plunge and go for web chat and implement it within their system?
That's a good question. I think what I see them do most often is they'll select the agents, and they'll quite often select good telephony agents, which doesn't necessarily translate to a good web chat agent. Spelling and grammar are pretty key on web chat. It might be to say, well, people don't really care about that stuff these days, and that's right. Some people don't, but some people do. And the people that do will notice, and the people that don't really won't notice if it's spelled
Mm.
incorrectly. So I think you've really got to be on the ball in terms of that, and also all the softer skills about, particularly if when your agents have got two or three chats at once, how do they manage that process? I think often companies make the mistake of thinking web chat is just fast emails.
Mm.
It's different, and they need different skills and different ways of thinking about things to really make a good customer experience. And that's what we're talking about now with web chat. It's as a customer experience, not just a way of getting through transactions quickly.
I think you're right there. I see a lot of companies who invest a lot of money into web chat and maybe lift a whole department
Yeah.
who used to be telesales and put them on web chat, and they really train them on how to use the system,
Mm.
but they rarely train them on the customer experience
Mm.
or the soft skills that go with
Absolutely.
web chat, and they're really missing a massive trick there.
In fact, mentioning talk about customer experience, they very rare they actually have sat down and worked out what they want the customer experience to look like.
Mm,
What is a good
definitely.
that's supposed what do we want it to look like for our organization? That isn't done, so that makes it then really difficult to look at a web chat and say, well, is that good or bad, because we haven't really articulated what good or bad looks like, which then of course makes it really difficult to develop your agent skills, because
Mm.
what are you developing it against? There's no framework. So I think that's a really fundamental thing that often people miss out.
And I'm going to keep this short and ask one big question, I think.
Yeah.
What are the trends for web chat or live chat, whatever you want to call it, in 2021 onwards?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and again, I think COVID has really driven some interesting trends. One of which has been a tendency to longer chat lengths. I think in the past people have really thought, well, you know, they need to be short, keep them short. You need to do 5 at once. And the customer experience has suffered as a result. And what they've found almost accidentally is that actually, because they've taken on lots of web chat agents, so to an extent the pressure has been off because they've got more agents, and so therefore they've been more relaxed about chat lengths. And actually what they've found is that the customer satisfaction's, you know, ratings have really gone up as a result of that, and, you know, sales have followed through as well. So it's an accidental discovery, but I think that's definitely something that's going to be going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point. Less chats, more focus on the chat you're on. And as you say, probably formulating a customer experience so that
absolutely
the agents actually know what the expectations are on that chat.
Yeah.
And I think also probably matching it into your brand as well.
Absolutely.
Branding is quite important when it comes to web chat as well. So, well, listen, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to me. We recently ran a free webinar on web chat and we recorded that. So I will pop a copy in the link so that you will be able to listen to Silva in a little bit more detail, and she's going to give you some much more in-depth hints and tips. Thank you so much, Silva.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.